Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. It keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Thank you for listening to the GSMC Music Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music. Now let's get into some music news. Now last Friday, I reported that South by Southwest was canceled due to the coronavirus concerns. Well, it was the first time in the festival's 34-year history that it was canceled. And artists and other members of the music industry say they're losing critical professional opportunities and financial investments because of the cancellation. Emerging artists in particular say their tours, album releases, and marketing campaigns were designed around the conference, which last year drew close to 160,000 attendees. We picked March to put out our record because we're going to South by Southwest, says Sean Solomon, singer-guitarist for LA post-punk band Moaning, who were scheduled to play more than a dozen shows at the festival. Every time we played past years, we were able to reach as many people as we would touring for a whole month because you're playing 3 or 4 shows a day. Had I known I wasn't going to be there, I would have tried to get work in LA. We still operate as an indie band and we're not raking in a ton of money. We all have jobs. Now I don't have anything lined up. The band landed its current label deal with Sub Pop after label reps saw them play at South by Southwest 3 years ago. The cancellation has sent artists and their team scrambling to reroute tours and seek refunds on travel and lodging. Other bands are being forced to eat the cost of expensive travel, visas, road gear, and record shipments. And for many, the cancellation means not getting paid for work days they were counting on or could have worked elsewhere. So, have you heard that new coronavirus banger? Yup. There are professional songs being made to bring some levity to the global panic. I haven't heard about the US dropping these bangers, but other countries are. In China, the nation where the virus originated, an all-star group of movie and music icons, including Jackie Chan, have band together for the soaring ballad, Believe Love Will Triumph. The We Are the World style anthem from Chinese state media includes the lyrics, "For you, I fight with my life, even in the face of rainfall of bullets. Through the door of life and death, I promise not to leave. The hardest thing is to let go. I will stay calm for you." Dominican debao singer Yofringo, never heard of him, Yofringo 911, dropped what is likely the only true COVID-19 banger to date with the urgent coronavirus. Yeah, that's the title, coronavirus, whose chorus features a series of fake sneezes. The singer is shown shaking in the back of an ambulance as he reminds fans to cover your mouth amidst a list of typical symptoms. Billboard has a list of 10 songs you can check out if you like. Now, as James Taylor's American Standard debuts in the top 10 on the new Billboard 200 albums chart, he becomes the first act to earn a top 10 album in each of the last 6 decades. There are only a handful of acts that could join Taylor in this elite club. Here are the artists that have achieved top 10s in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 10s. Eric Clapton, Neil Diamond, Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney, Bette Midler, Tom Petty, The Rolling Stones, Santana, Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, Barbra Streisand, and Van Halen. Of the above, the Rolling Stones, Santana, and Streisand have scored top 10s in the 60s through the 2010s. Michael Jackson, who died in 2009, achieved his 2 top 10s in the 2000s via posthumous efforts. after he died. Now, Selena, anything for Selena's, has been officially inducted into the Star Trail of Fame at the Rodeo Houston, making history as the first Latina artist and second female act overall. The announcement was made on Sunday via a set of photos and videos posted on the Rodeo's Instagram account, showing the unveiling of the golden plaque positioned next to Elvis Presley's. On February 26, her family and fans honored 25 years since Selena and Los Dinos took stage for the last time at the Houston Astrodome in the rodeo. She performed 3 years in a row, 1993 through 95, ultimately breaking her own record with the 1995 televised spectacle that drew nearly 67,000 attendees. Now this is dope because I loved me some Selena. She was probably, she has to be, because I can't remember anything before her. Like my first music heartbreak when I heard about her death. I can't remember anything before her, but after her, I do remember Aaliyah. That was heartbreaking as well. So yeah, Selena was my first. Now, Songland will kick off its second season on April 13th, and it's going to be another star-studded affair that includes Boyz II Men, Florida Georgia Line, Louis Fonsi, Her, Lady Antebellum, Martina McBride, Julia Michaels, Ben Platt, BB Rexa, and Usher will appear on this next season of Songland. One Republic frontman Ryan Tedder and Rihanna co-writer Esther Dean and country hitmaker Shane McAnally will return as an all-star produced panel who will help aspiring singer-songwriters shape their songs to hopefully have it recorded by the artist who is part of the episode. DaBaby. Why, DaBaby? Why? Why are you always in the news about a fan getting hands laid on him? I told y'all not to mess with DaBaby. In this case, don't get too close to DaBaby. Apparently, a female fan got too close to him with her cell phone and hit him across his head with it, while her light was shining brightly in his face. His reaction was to hit the person on the other side of the phone. He didn't know it was a woman. He says, "I'm very sorry that there was a female on the other end of that flashlight of the phone." He then proceeded to address the victim directly. "But keep in mind, I couldn't see you because you got the flashlight this close to me, which is okay. It's no problem. A lot of people did. They didn't put it as close as you put it, but all of them fans, how many people knew how to zoom in? Just zoom in instead of popping me in the mother effing eye with the phone." He said all this on his IG story. And he continued to stress that though he did not see who was holding the phone, he would have reacted the same had the fan been a man or a woman. I think by now it's a well-known fact that male or female, I would have responded the same way. Of course I had security with me. The club, they had their security in ish. But me, I make my security treat fans with respect. I don't like all that rah-rah coming through move, watch out, knocking people out. People paid to be here. We gotta respect them when we move through. I just wish you gave me the same respect in return. You did not give me the same respect, baby. All you had to do was zoom in. Now, Kirk proceeded to offer to fly the fan out so that he could apologize in person and tell her to zoom in. And concluded by saying that he wanted to bring more witness to ish like this to keep it from happening in the future. Male or female, let's just try to conduct ourselves with respect. I'm sorry, but DaBaby and his shenanigans are just ridiculously entertaining to me. All you had to do was zoom in, it should go viral. As Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, faces federal charges for failing to register as a sex offender in California, the 41-year-old is now entered into the California's Megan Law database. According to the grand jury indictment, Petty, who was convicted of attempted rape in the first degree in 1995 in New York, was charged February 25th with failure to register as a sex offender, a requirement under the 2006 Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. TMZ reported that he was arrested at a traffic stop in Beverly Hills in November when police discovered he was not registered as a sex offender in California. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office announced on Friday that it was dropping charges against Petty, but if he is convicted of the same felony charge, he faces up to 10 years in prison, the statutory maximum. Now, I don't really know anything about his background. I didn't have time to really look into what that 1995 attempted rape and first degree charge was all about. So yeah. Now, what is up with all these damn challenges? I mean, I can't keep up. The latest is the Flip the Switch to Drake's 2008 hit Nonstop. Now, TikTok started the challenge and celebrities are jumping on board. Like, I really don't know why this song from 2008 is a challenge in 2020, but hey, it is making for some entertaining videos. So this past Saturday, former Democratic presidential hopeful Elizabeth Warren stopped by Saturday Night Live while the hilarious Kate McKinnon impersonated her. I love Kate. She was the latest to do Hillary Clinton as well, but she rocks a little good pantsuit well in her impersonations. I didn't see the SNL skit, but I did see the Flip the Switch challenge. So from the onset, Warren had her phone in hand while McKinnon, who suited up as a former presidential hopeful for an SNL skit, began dancing to the popular Drake tune in front of a mirror. Shortly after Drake's lyrics kicked in and the lights switched back on, it was a 70-year-old politician's turn to bust a move. And she busted that move. And Warren got some moves. And she was having fun with it. I like that. I mean, especially after, announcing that she was stepping out of the race to go and just have fun and, kind of make a fool of herself, which to me, I didn't see the but this Flip the Switch challenge, she didn't make a fool of herself. To me, more props to her. Definitely more props. But yeah, what we're going to do is take a break and return with new music.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. I'm your host, Gaelika Brown. Now it's time for some new music. So albums that released: Megan Thee Stallion, Sugar, Lil Uzi Vert, Internal Attack, Lauv, not sure how you say his name, but Lauv, How I'm Feeling, Janae Akeo, Chilumbo, and Jadakiss, Ignatius, Ignatius. New singles: Demi Lovato, I Love Me, Katy Perry, Never Worn White, Dixie Chicks, Gaslighter, The Aces, Daydream. I heard that Demi Lovato. It's a cool song. Katy Perry, Never Worn White. It's a ballad, a really cool ballad with a cool visual to it. So Jadakiss dedicated his 5th solo album, The Ignatius, to Ice Pick Jackson. Oh, so that's the dude's name. Album to Ignatius Ice Pick Jackson. So he passed away, so I really hope, no disrespect. I hope I said his name decent, but I spelled it out, so best I can do. But his close friend and former Rough Rider A&R, who died from colon cancer. Kiss told Vibe that the songs were mostly collaborations and production choices that Jackson always wanted him to do. Guests include Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, Dej Loaf, John Legend, to name a few. Now, I last reported that Megan Thee Stallion's label 1501 blocked the EP Sugar from coming out, but she was trying to release it, and she did after a court judgment. a rebuttal interview from the label CEO, Carl Crawford, and a quick run of press with appearances on the likes of First Take and Hot 97. Megan's new project, Sugar, has arrived. I'm going to talk about that a little later in what I've been jamming. But before we do that, on to tours and festival news. Madonna's Madam X tour has come to an abrupt halt due to new restrictions on public gatherings implemented in France amid the COVID-19 virus spread. Following official notification from the Office of the Police this morning prohibiting all events with an audience attendance of over 1,000, Live Nation regrets to announce the final 2 Madam X performances, previously rescheduled to March 10th and 11th, are forced to be canceled. Reads a note on Madonna's site. Now, Jimmy Eat World has announced summer tour dates. Their 20-day Criminal Energy Tour will kick off August 6th in Atlanta and wrap up September 5th in Phoenix. Now on to the top 10 songs played in the United States according to Apple Music. Roddy Ricch's The Box was back at number 1 after Lil Baby and Gunna Heating Up temporarily held that spot. But now with the new release of Lil Uzi Vert, that took that spot. So, Baby Pluto is now number 1. Number 2, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Main. Lil Uzi Vert is about to go through like the top 5. So, I'm not going to say Lil Uzi Vert the whole time. I'm going to just name the song. So, number 3, Silly Watch. Number 4, P2. Number 5, Homecoming. And then number 6, we got Janae Akeo, BS. Number 7, right back to Lil Uzi Vert, Pop. Same dude with Prices on number 8. And dang, Roddy Ricch, The Box slid all the way down to number 9. And then we got number 10, Lil Uzi Vert, That Way. Now let's compare that to the top 10 songs played globally according to Apple Music. So pretty much Lil Uzi Vert is dominating again. Baby Pluto. Number 2, Lil Main. Number 3, Silly Watch. Number 4, we got Roddy Ricch with The Box. Number 5, Lil Uzi Vert, P2. Same dude with Homecoming at number 6. Number 7, BS, which is Janae Akeo featuring her. Number 8, Lil Uzi Vert, Pop. He's same dude. Number 9, That Way. Same dude. Number 10, Prices. He actually keeps going and going and going all the way through number 16. So Lil Uzi Vert was killing the charts globally this weekend. All right, so what have I been jamming? Well, that Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Atake. It bangs so hard. Now, this is officially the first project I have ever listened to his. I still don't know if I can say that if I heard a song of his or his voice, I could be like, oh, that's Lil Uzi Vert. Like, he's still new to me. I know, like, there's been hella buzz about him. Yeah, like everybody be talking about him. So I know of him only by name, not of, by music. But I totally understand the buzz. I totally get it. I mean, the album gets me hyped. It's a good workout project. If you're just trying to like wake up, get crunk, have a nice cruise, cruising in a car or whatever, cleaning a house, whatever you do, whatever that you like up tempo bangers you want to hear, that's Lil Uzi. It's a good project. So for me, the standouts were Silly Watch, Pop, Prices, Urgency featuring Sid, which that was the only feature on the entire album, and it wasn't even a rap feature. The other songs I enjoyed were I'm Sorry and Secure the Bag. Now, I told y'all I was excited to hear some new Meg Thee Stallion. I support her because she is fly and from Houston, which is where I went to college. This weekend, while listening to The Breakfast Club, I learned that she currently attends my alma mater, Texas Southern University. So now I am even a bigger fan than I was before. Now, unfortunately, with the Sugar EP, I'm more of a fan of Megan than the project. I mean, it's a cool project. It's not bad at all. There are some cool songs. The standouts for me, and it's a good, like, hold you over until her debut album comes out. But I'm only going to listen to the standouts Like, I don't need to listen to the whole EP. So my standouts were Captain Hook, Savage, and Crying in the Car. She has a song with Kehlani. I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the feature with Kehlani way better than I actually enjoyed the song. Let's see, what was the name of that song? Hit My Phone. So yeah, Kehlani's part was cool. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the way Meg was rapping over the beat. And it kind of had like this, like kind of old school, like, I don't know, like old school lowrider car vibe going. And I don't think it just really matched her and her style. But if it was strictly Kehlani on it, which I heard originally Kehlani made it for her album and Meg was going to be the feature, but it just didn't fit on Kehlani's album, so she gave it to Meg. Now, the other album I jammed was that Chilumbo by Janae Akeyo. It's a solid project. It's 20 songs and has hella features, unlike that Lil Uzi Vert. It's a cool vibe. I have to listen to it more to find my favorites. As of now, the only a few stood out to me, which is None of Your Concern with her boyfriend or hubby. I don't quite know what he is. Doesn't sound like the internets know either, because I really was trying to look it up. But Big Sean is featured on it. When you listen to the song, it don't sound like they're together at all. But they're really good at writing from outside point of views. So I don't know if that's what they're doing or what they did on that track or not. But another song I enjoyed was Surrender with Dr. Chill. Not familiar with him. And Lightning and Thunder with John Legend. I hoped for more with that Nas feature, 10,000 K Hours. I mean, it's cool, but it's not epic, being that it was Nas and Nas is epic. But to keep it real, Nas to me hasn't really made anything epic in decades. So with that said, we're going to take a break and return with music history with Boys and Men.
Searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Music Podcast. Now let's get into music history with Boys to Men, according to allmusic.com. Now, according to no less an authority than the RIAA, Boys and Men are the most commercially successful R&B group of all time. They sold ludicrous numbers of records and were involved in 3 of the longest running #1 pop singles in history. And they did it all as a unit of equals. In fact, their 4-part harmonies blended so smoothly that most of the general public would be hard-pressed to name any of the group's individual members. And that's no reflection on their skills as singers. Boys and Men are among the first male R&B artists to adopt the sort of hyper-technical melodic embellishments that were popularized by divas like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. Their early music was indebted to New Jack Swing, but the group quickly found their forte in lush, soulful ballads, where their harmonies could be showcased to greatest effect. Boys and Men haven't duplicated their incredible early 90s commercial success, but they have remained relevant. Boyz II Men were formed in 1988 at Philadelphia's High School of the Creative and Performing Arts. Founding members Nathan Morris and Mark Nelson had been singing together for several years, but had trouble keeping a group together simply due to members graduating. Things finally stabilized when they hooked up with Wanya Morris and Sean Stockman, the bass vocalist Michael McCary. Now calling themselves Unique Attraction, I didn't know that, the quintet performed a well-received Valentine's Day show for their school and developed a repertoire that leaned heavily on New Edition songs, one of which, Boyz II Men, gave them their name. Their big break came in 1989 when they snuck backstage at a Belle Biv DeVoe concert, and Woad group member Michael Bivins, also formerly of New Edition and a budding music entrepreneur, is, Belle Biv DeVoe, he's Biv, with an a cappella version of New Edition's Can You Stand the Rain. Bivins offered them a deal right there, but Nelson would not stick around to be a part of it. Okay, because I'm like, who the heck is Nelson? Makes sense. Now, personally, conflicts led to his departure soon after. He later resurfaced as a member of As Yet. I remember As Yet. Last night, I'm making love to you. Gonna have to look up who exactly he was in As Yet. But that's the only song I even remember of theirs. So maybe he should have stuck with Boyz II Men. Now, down to a quartet, Boyz II Men entered the studio to record their debut album, Cooley High Harmony, for the legendary Motown Records. Backed by the new Jack production then in vogue, they dubbed their sound hip-hop doo-wop. Though as a vocal harmony group, they were more indebted to R&B of the 60s and 70s. Cooley High Harmony was released in 1991, and its first single, the up-tempo dance track, Motown Philly Back Again. I'm not going to get into it, but rocketed up the charts, going top 5 pop and number 1 R&B on its way to platinum sales. The a cappella ballad, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, a cover of a song from the film Cooley High, also hit the pop top 5 and topped the R&B chart and went gold. Meanwhile, the album won a Grammy for Best R&B Vocal Performance by a Duo or Group. Boyz II Men joined MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit tour in 1992, but tragedy struck when tour manager Cahill Roundtree was shot and killed in Chicago. The group rededicated that song, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye, to him. The tragedy notwithstanding, Boyz II Men had an extremely auspicious beginning to their career. Still, nothing could have foreshadowed the group's Midas touch over the next few years. Briefly entering the studio in between concert gigs, Boyz II Men cut a smooth babyface ballad called End of the Road for the soundtrack of the Eddie Murphy film Boomerang. Y'all know that song. The end of the road. They actually just sung that at Kobe Bryant. It was at the Grammys while they were in the Staples Center. Alicia Keys brought out Boyz II Men and they sung that song. So yeah, they've been singing it for decades. Still a classic. Released as a single, became not just a blockbuster, but one of the biggest hits in history. Clearly, like I said, they're still singing it. It spent 13 weeks at number 1 on the pop charts, an incredible run that broke the record of 11 weeks Elvis Presley had held ever since 1956 with a double-sided single, Don't Be Cruel, Hound Dog. That's crazy. So what? It doesn't say what year End of the Road came out, but so early 90s. So from 1956 to like early 90s, Elvis Presley had that spot. That's crazy. Now, End of the Road won a slew of awards and cemented Boyz II Men's star status beyond any doubt. While crafting their next album during 1993, the group released a couple of placeholders, a top 5 cover of the Five Satins doo-wop classic, In the Still of the Night from the TV movie The Jackson, An American Dream, and the holiday album Christmas Interpretations. Also that year, Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You broke End of the Road's record with 14 weeks at number 1. Dang, Whitney. Like, Elvis held it for like decades. They got 13 weeks, and then here come Whitney. But I ain't even mad because that was a jam. And I believe Dolly Parton wrote that one too. Now, the post End of the Road buzz helped make Boyz II Men's next album, 2, an instant smash when it arrived in 1994. Even though it didn't include End of the Road, produced by the likes of Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, rather than Bivins, who wanted to concentrate on developing new artists, 2 debuted at number 1 on its way to sell over 12 million copies. The first single, I'll Make Love to You, also penned by Babyface, raced up the charts and wound up tying Houston's short-lived record. Okay. They was going at it. It was a little battle between Whitney and Boyz II Men. So, they raced up the charts and, tied up Whitney Houston's short-lived record with 14 weeks of its own at number 1. A staggering feat in itself, made all the more amazing by the fact that the group had already set the record once. Moreover, the follow-up single, On Bended Knee, actually replaced I'll Make Love to You at number 1 for a 6-week run of its own. Only Elvis and the Beatles had ever replaced themselves at number 1. Get it, boys, get it. Thank You was a relative flop. I was going to say thank you. What was, and I thank you. I love that song. Even though, and I thank you. I love that song. But okay, they said it was a flop. It wasn't a flop in my heart, Boyz II Men. Not quite making the top pop 20. But Water Runs Dry returned them to the top 5, falling 1 slot short of number 1. Boyz II Men spent much of 1995 touring the U.S. and beyond in support of 2. And it also opened their own recording studio. They spent some time recording collaborations with artists Wanya Morris, duetted with Brandy on the hit Broken Hearted. Oh yeah, I like that song too. And the whole group sang on Michael Jackson's History and LL Cool J's Hey Lover, Hey Lover. The biggest one, however, was a song done with Mariah Carey called One Sweet Day. I forgot about that. Featuring 2 of the biggest chart powerhouses in the industry. One Sweet Day was virtually a guaranteed blockbuster, and it went on to spend 16 weeks at number 1 on the pop chart, debuting there in December 1995. It was the 3rd such record-setting single of Boyz II Men's career. Over the group's objections, Motown released a piece of cash and product titled The Remix Collection in late 1995. In retaliation, Boyz signed a distribution deal with Sony, not Motown, for their new vanity label, Stone Creek. It was the beginning of a souring relationship that only worsened upon the release of Boyz II Men's next album, Evolution, in 1997. The record started out strong, debuting at number 1 and sending 4 Seasons of Loneliness to the top position of the single charts. Its top 10 follow-up, A Song for Mama, gave Boyz II Men their record-setting 7th platinum single. However, Motown was unable to throw its full promotional muscle behind the record, perhaps because of their transition to a new label president, meaning that Evolution didn't have the shelf life of 2, selling only 2 million copies. The group was also forced to postpone parts of their supporting tour when Wanya Morris developed a benign polyp on his vocal cord. Dang. Because Wanya, he's a, oh yeah, voice. That boy been singing. Boy can sing. They can all sing. But he's like, you know, I know they talk about how they all harmonize, but let's face it, Wanya was like the dude. He recovered fully though, and in early 1999, amid major record company mergers, the group had their contract transferred from Motown to Universal. For their next album, Boyz II Men assumed greater control over songwriting and production, handling a greater share of each by themselves. The resulting record, Nathan Michael Sean Wanye, was released in 2000, went gold, and produced a smaller scale hit in Pass You By. The group subsequently signed with Arista Records in summer 2002. Boyz II Men kept with their sophisticated approach for the aptly titled release Full Circle. So Michael, the big dude with the big, deep baritone voice, the guy, hey girl. He left the group in 2003 due to problems with scoliosis. Oh, I didn't know that. I never knew why he left. In 2004, the remaining members released Throwback, an album filled with covers of their favorite songs. Their 2006 effort, The Remedy, was initially only available in Japan until a year later when it was released through the band's official website. The tribute album, Motown, A Journey Through Hitsville, USA, was also released in 2007. It featured production from American Idol judge Randy Jackson, plus an a cappella version of End of the Road. 2 years later, Jackson was back as a producer of their third cover album, Love, another release for Japan covered Winter. Consisted of Japanese pop covers. What? Japanese pop covers? What? All right. I didn't know that. I don't even know if I even want to look that up. What? During the 2010s, Boyz II Men continued to tour frequently and recorded with support from various independent and major labels. The group marked their 20th anniversary in 2011 with 20, which offered a set of new material and a collection of re-recordings. Never even heard that. I don't think. I'm pretty sure I knew it, but I don't think I listened. 3 years later, the trio returned with Collide, a stylistic, diverse set of originals written by collaborators. Under the Streetlight, released through Sony Masterworks in 2017, featured 3 songs recorded with longtime peer Brian McKnight and one made with fellow veteran vocal group Take 6. All right, I don't know. I mean, I haven't listened to them basically since the 90s. I mean, you know, I've listened to their 90s music outside of the 90s, but any of their later albums, I think I might have listened to like that 20 and I was like, womp womp, I'll stick to the classics. But I'm telling you, 90s, man, it was all about Boyz II Men. I had that, the one with the, and I thank you, the second album, that would be 2. Yeah, the 2. I had that cassette tape. That was like one of the few cassette tapes that I owned as a kid. And I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing Boyz II Men. And it was like everyone for talent shows, it was all about Boyz II Men. Little class presentations. I remember putting stuff together for class and doing little choreographies and trying to harmonize like them. Yeah, it was all about Boyz II Men and like Mariah Carey in the 90s. So yes, I loved me some Boyz II Men. I'm happy that they're still like touring and doing things. Yeah, it's good to still see them. Like, it was really dope to see them at the Grammys doing that Kobe tribute. So that's all I got, folks. I thank you for listening. As always, if you like what you hear, subscribe. And until next time, I'm Gaelika Brown, the music lover constantly seeking positive music.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.